Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Abul Bakri. Welcome back to the Ultimate Ramadan Guide series. In this episode, we're going to be covering the common issues that people have during Ramadan, the most common problems: the caffeine withdrawal, the low blood sugar, the low blood pressure, the dreaded Ramadan headaches and migraines. We'll go through the causes of these things, how you can avoid them, how you can prepare yourself before Ramadan, during Ramadan, at suhoor, so that you're optimized and ready to rock and roll. The first one we want to dive into, and a lot of you guys are probably guilty of this, including myself, is the caffeine withdrawal. Now, if you're a coffee enjoyer, you're a tea enjoyer, you have to be responsible when it comes to Ramadan. You can't just go into Ramadan, suddenly cut caffeine cold turkey, and have headaches for the first week, really ruin the Ramadan experience for yourself. You want to be very conscious about this and prepare before the month. So what I tell people that like coffee, you really have three options when it comes to Ramadan. Number one, you can wake up at suhoor every day and have your usual caffeine dose or a little bit less. So for example, if you're a 2 cups of coffee a day person, you shouldn't go into Ramadan and go right to zero. You should probably have 1 to 2 cups at suhoor so that you can get through the day without having the caffeine withdrawal. Caffeine is the most used psychoactive drug on the planet, and you have to be able to use this compound responsibly if you want to enjoy it. So that's option number one. You can wake up at suhoor and have your usual caffeine dose. Option number two is that you taper off of caffeine before Ramadan starts. So for example, a week before Ramadan, if you're a 3-4 cups of coffee a day person, you might go 3 cups for a few days, 2 cups for a few days, 1 cup for a few days, half a cup for a day. And then when Ramadan comes around, you can kind of slowly, smoothly get off caffeine instead of having that very rough experience on the first day of Ramadan. Ramadan is only 29 or 30 days, and we don't want to waste any time during the month. Every single second is blessed, and we don't want to waste time having caffeine headaches and withdrawing from caffeine and just having an overall bad time. Now, the third option, and what I've tended to use the last few years, especially during long residency shifts where I'm waking up and working for 16, 20, 28 hours straight while fasting in Ramadan, is using something called extended release caffeine. So there's new formulations of caffeine where you take the caffeine at suhoor and it slowly releases into your bloodstream throughout the day instead of giving you a strong blast of caffeine like a cup of coffee might. So there's different brands online like Genius, and we have another one called Dynamax that has a caffeine called Zoom XR. These are different people that figured out how to make caffeine slowly release instead of having the instant release caffeine we're used to. The cool thing about this is that if you're a person that likes to sleep after suhoor, you can take this caffeine and it will slowly release in your blood. And by the time you wake up from your post-suhoor nap, let's call it, you will have that caffeine hitting you, so you'll be able to go on with your day and do whatever you have to do. Now, the cool thing about caffeine is that some of the earliest users of caffeine were actually Ubad that would stay up the whole night worshiping Allah. They would use their coffee to actually do qiyam. And we could do something similar here, especially in the last 10 nights of Ramadan when somebody is very sleep deprived as it is. Caffeine can kind of help offset some of that sleep deprivation, gets you through the night, gets you through your work day if you have obligations throughout the day, and use this tool the proper way. But we don't want to be misusing caffeine. We want to be using caffeine for our advantage. So 3 things that you could do. You could either taper off before Ramadan, you could take your usual caffeine dose every morning at suhoor, or you can use these extended release caffeine formulations to kind of figure out how to get through the day. Now, you can read more about these different formulations, which ones work better, which ones have different effects in the ebook in the link below, including using tricks like the caffeine superpower nap that we talked about post suhoor, taking that at suhoor and then waking up with the rise of caffeine. But overall, use caffeine as a tool and don't make it a tool that is used against you. The next problem that people have during Ramadan is the dreaded Ramadan headache. Somebody wakes up, we've probably seen this all, it's 2 p.m., first day of Ramadan, they have a headache, they have a giant migraine, they're not feeling good. And usually it's a combination of a couple of things that's going on that causes these headaches. But what we want to do, and what we've successfully done over the last few years, is help people avoid these headaches altogether. Now, these Ramadan headaches are usually one of 4 things that are happening. The first of them is the caffeine withdrawal headache that we just talked about earlier in the last section. The other thing that this could be is it could be low blood sugar, could be low blood pressure or low relative blood pressure, or it could just be sleep deprivation. And in some people, all four of these things are happening at the same time, and they're causing them to have a lot of problems. So let's dive into each one of those. The first one we should talk about now is the low blood sugar. So in the earlier episode, we talked about how we have all these fuels available to us to use, but if somebody's not very metabolically healthy, they're pre-diabetic, diabetic, or on their way to diabetes, they will have a harder time during Ramadan liberating the fuels from their liver, from their muscle glycogen, in all these different places to get through Ramadan, and they'll have a relative low blood sugar than what they're adapted to. So when it comes to blood sugar and low blood sugar during Ramadan, if you're not somebody who's fasted in the weeks leading up to Ramadan and gotten more adaptable at fasting, there are a couple of tips and tricks that you can go through. Number one is having a proper suhoor with a variety of proteins, fats, and carbs. And we'll cover this all in our suhoor section in an upcoming video. On top of that, another trick that most people are unaware of is that if you go for a walk, you can liberate some of the muscle glycogen that we were talking about earlier. So what happens is the body is very well designed to keep the glycogen in the muscle inside of the muscle so that the muscles can always have fuel no matter what. This is well designed for us in case you're running away from some kind of animal or some kind of invader or whatever it may be. You have fuel to get you through that run for your muscle and secondly, your brain. Now, the cool part is when the muscles go through cellular respiration, which is digesting sugar in the muscle, they release other cellular byproducts that you can use as fuel, such as lactate. And then the lactate can go back into the liver, can be made into glucose to be released into your blood. Now, very counterintuitive. Most people, if they're feeling sluggish and low energy during Ramadan, they'd rather just lay on the couch. But counterintuitively, if they're actually to go outside, go for a walk, move the muscles, liberate some of that glycogen, they'll actually feel better and have more fuel available to them to digest. On top of that, with the proper suhoor, with the movement to get more energy, the third thing is there are some supplements that people have used in the past to help them with energy problems during Ramadan. The first of which is a amino acid called L-carnitine. It's available as a supplement on Amazon online. This is a amino acid that's well studied. It's used to actually help the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, to actually get more fat into the cell so it can use that fat for fuel. And people will notice that you'll have a little bit more ability to burn fat and a little bit more energy when using them. The other thing is that some people have found that MCT oil, it's a medium chain triglyceride. It's a type of fatty acid oil found in coconuts. This oil, people will take it at suhoor. It's easier to make this MCT fat into ketone bodies that we talked about in the last part. Ketone bodies are an excellent fuel for the fasted person. So those are two things that people can incorporate at suhoor, carnitine and MCT oil as a trick to help with low blood sugar. But overall, the trick with low blood sugar is to be well adapted before Ramadan, have the proper suhoor, to go and move and be active, and to use any supplements that may help them under the care of a doctor, of course. Now, if you're somebody who has very low blood sugar or you have some kind of metabolic disorder, you should, of course, talk to your doctor. None of this is medical advice. You should seek your doctor's help. And sometimes some of these people aren't able to get through the fast because they have some kind of rare insulin disorder that makes them ineligible for the fast. So talk to your doctor, make sure that all this is working out for you. But if you're somebody who has a little bit of sluggish energy, you can feel the hunger pangs and you feel not yourself during the fast, some of these tricks might help you get through the day. Now, next to caffeine withdrawal and low blood sugar, the next problem that people have with Ramadan is properly hydrating and having some low blood pressure. And this is what's causing a lot of people to have headaches throughout the day, especially people that when they stand up, they start feeling lightheaded, they feel faint during the month, they feel like blood is not rushing to their brain. This is usually a hydration issue and a blood pressure issue. Now, this is not for people that take blood pressure medications or have some kind of blood pressure diagnosed issue that they're seeing a doctor for. This is for your average person that has relatively good health and feels some low blood pressure during Ramadan. Now, the problem here is that many people during Ramadan, what they do is they wake up at suhoor. They don't have much of an appetite. They down 4 or 5 cups of water thinking they're a camel and they're going to store that water somewhere. We're not camels. We can't store water in our body. What they end up doing is just causing some of their water regulating hormones to move in a direction of peeing out all that water because your body is accustomed to taking in water with food, with electrolytes, with different sugars to help uptake that water into your bloodstream and keep that water in your body. Instead, when you're just drinking tons of water at suhoor, you're just filtering all that out. Many people experience this. They drink 4 cups of water at suhoor, and they spend the next 3 to 4 hours going to the bathroom 4 or 5 times. They're like, hey, what happened? What's going on? The problem is you shouldn't be hydrating that way. Now, the trick to hydration during the month of Ramadan is using the right formula and the right combination of sugar, salt, and water. When we have patients in the hospital that are very dehydrated, we don't give them pure water. We give them saline. It has some sugar, it has some salt in it. When someone is severely dehydrated from diarrhea, what we do is we give them a mixture of a certain amount of water, a certain amount of salt, a certain amount of sugar to help them uptake more of that water. Otherwise, that water just goes right through them. People like to use some of these hydration packets that you find at Costco or wherever it is, LMNT or Liquid IV, stuff you can find at Costco, these hydration beverages and packets that you can easily put into a cup of water and drink at suhoor and help hydrate a little bit better. The reality is you can just use salt water and some lemon and make your own hydration formula cheaply at home. But the key thing is what you want to do is optimize your intake at suhoor and iftar, so you're getting solutes. Now, the key caveat and disclaimer here is that if you're somebody that has high blood pressure, you're taking medication for high blood pressure, or you're working with a doctor on that, this is advice that probably isn't applicable for you because you already have blood pressure issue. You're taking medications to lower your blood pressure. You shouldn't be taking in more sodium. The general recommendations for somebody who has heart disease or blood pressure is to keep your sodium intake under 2 grams a day. So you don't want to be messing with that in Ramadan. And what people will notice actually is throughout the fasting, their blood pressure levels will actually come down and they will have a healthier blood pressure, and the doctors usually are happy as a result. But if you're somebody who's a normal blood pressure person, but during Ramadan you feel kind of lightheaded, you feel like your blood pressure is a little bit low, you could use these electrolyte packets that can help you get you through the day. I use those because they're just easy and you just put them on water and drink them. But otherwise, you can just make your own. Another trick that some people do is they take a spoon of honey, pour some salt on it, and take that at suhoor. You're getting sugar, you're getting salt, and you drink a cup of water, and that's helping you absorb more of that water. So what happens is in our intestines, we have sodium glucose co-transporters. Fancy scientific term. What it means is that there's a transporter in your gut that absorbs water in the presence of sodium, which is part of salt, and sugar, glucose. So when those two are present in the gut with water, more water can flow inside of your bloodstream rather than just going right out of you. Now, if we compare the most hydrating beverages, they've actually done studies on this. The beverages that have more solutes in them, more sodium, magnesium, potassium, some glucose, actually hydrate better than plain old water. Milk is a very hydrating beverage because that's different solutes, different electrolytes already built into the milk itself. So that's a very good option for suhoor. So you can take milk, honey, a little bit of salt, and you'll probably be better hydrated than the people that are drinking 4 or 5 cups of water at suhoor thinking they're going to be able to store that. Now, if you're getting a lot of salt in your suhoor already, so you're eating some kind of salty leftovers from the night before, you don't need to be adding electrolyte packets. You don't need to be adding more salt to your food. You're probably actually going to go the other way and have too much salt and not enough water, and then you get really thirsty as a result. So it's about the fine balance of that, and that will vary person to person, but you want to have a good ratio of salt, water, and sugar. And there's beverages that already exist in nature that have that, like milk. Yogurt would be a good option at suhoor. So if you're somebody who feels very lightheaded during the day in Ramadan, going back in suhoor, adding some electrolytes in the form of electrolyte packets, some more salt on your food, some naturally hydrating beverages like milk, honey, and salt, that kind of combination can help you get more fluid into your blood, into your veins. So your blood pressure is a little bit higher throughout the day and you're feeling better and you can get through the Ramadan fast with less problems. So if you found those points helpful, there's the PDF link below for the Ultimate Ramadan Guidebook, where we go into more details on different hydration tips and tactics, different caffeine protocols for titrating off of caffeine, the different caffeine products that I've used in the past during Ramadan, and when I would use one or the other, different types of blood sugar tricks and strategies that you could use, with a bunch of graphs, sources, all the good stuff for all the people that really want to get in depth on these topics.